Critics are raving for the Odyssey, but some are saying it's a travesty. It's terrible. It's a bad movie. So who's right? Who's wrong? And should we begin to wonder when Hollywood declares it's the greatest film of all time? Today we'll tell you what's really going on and why this just might be one battle after another 2.0. Here we go again, ladies and gentlemen, taking a position that Hollyweird simply cannot stand, telling you why they're doing what they're doing once again. Folks, as we dive in, click that like button, smash that subscribe, and if this is your first time to the channel, we say welcome. We're streaming to you from somewhere sunny USA. The studio is glistening because you're listening to what we have to say. Ladies and gentlemen, the mainstream, lamestream, going extinct dinosaur media is fawning over the Odyssey. But there are those out there who say this is a trap and film threat. Well, they've seen it, and they say you should not be thirsty for this IMAX adventure. Let's see what they have to say about it. And then we'll take a look at what Hollywood at large says. Alan Ng giving the review, and we trust Alan. Alan tries to be honest about these things. Go figure, right? Here's what he says, having seen the film. I'm going to scroll down to where he gets into the deep stuff. He says, what I expected to be a grand tale of epic proportions from the great Christopher Nolan turned out to be a boring, pretentious, 3-hour slog of Hollywood actors chewing the scenery. The cinematic storytelling was subpar at best, leaning into its own self-importance. He says, I'll start with the editing, which was relentless. It felt like the 3-hour final product was an attempt to squeeze in an 8-hour movie. There are very few stops and virtually no breaks in the story. Moments of quiet felt like they were edited out for time. Every transition was a quick cut, and stories felt like an adventurer's highlight reels. Folks, you can see more of what Alan has to say. He's got this review. We'll play a brief snippet of it. We want you to go check out Film Threat, though, and kudos to them for telling the truth. Well, I haven't seen it yet, but I know them, and I've talked with them many times. They're truthful guys. Here's what Alan Ng had to say, along with Chris Gore coming out of the theater.
Just checked out on this movie pretty much from the beginning. The sound was awful. I couldn't understand dialogue. And then I started to understand dialogue and realized how bad the dialogue is. This is the most pretentious movie I've seen all year.
Now, what's interesting to me, and Chris Gore weighs in as well, what's interesting to me is that Christopher Nolan is usually technically excellent. Whatever you think of his films, he is a technically excellent director, one of the best. So the idea that you can't even hear the dialogue is a problem. And you might say, well, I don't believe that because it's Christopher Nolan. Well, I'm here to tell you, I have seen something that causes me to change my mind. Now, I think that if I put it on the screen, they're going to come after us, so I'm not going to put it on the screen. Ron, Lauren, Lou, have you guys seen now somebody videoed one of the scenes in the theater already? It's not even released yet, but somehow somebody filmed inside the theater. Shouldn't have done it. Don't do it. But they filmed inside the theater. The artist formerly known as Paige. We all know this particular actor is, it's difficult even to talk about the actor, but this actor is portrayed in the scene as a soldier, a Greek soldier running across the battlefield. And I saw it and I said, this is infinitely silly. This is what I worried that it could be. This is very silly. This person is playing a supposedly athletic, masculine Greek soldier, and they're 5 feet tall and not very masculine. I'm sorry.
I haven't seen that because I haven't come across it. But if you have seen the other videos that have come out with Paige, you may have seen a lot of snippets of the character perhaps hauling a boulder and it ending up as a pebble at someone's feet. So my question would be, how does the actual scene compare with those?
It was, I mean, I saw the scene. I was innocent. I was just scrolling through my timeline and there it was. I'm not going to put it on the screen. I think they will get us if we put it on the screen.
On the one hand, if you have an army of 10,000 people, there's a couple of short guys, right? But on the other hand, they're not named in the opening credits actors. They're not key characters of any kind.
Right.
They used to call the extras in opera and in the theater spear carriers, because they would stand in the back with a spear and just be there as part of the human scenery, but not a star.
Well, this is my understanding is the character in the movie is revealed to sort of be parallel with Achilles somehow. So when I hear Alan say that, you can't even hear the dialogue, I believe him because I've seen this scene, and the scene is very, very silly. I have not seen the entire film, of course. I will see that soon. But here is more. This is from Chris Gore going to see the movie.
Very good. And the way the soldiers transform, I'm not going to go into detail there. I thought that was very clever. But for the most part, I'm still marinating on it. It's not a disaster. But I'll say the controversial castings,
Not a big deal.
it's not that big a deal because of screen time.
Right. They might as well be cameos.
They're really not in the movie all that much. Although Elliot Page as Sinan is the greatest soldier I've ever known.
There you go. The greatest soldier we've ever known. All right. Well, here's what is happening right now. 97% from Rotten Tomatoes. The critics love this. Okay. And if we click on the critics, okay, not our friends at Film Threat. They're scoring this much lower. Let's see. Will it give us the list of? Yeah, it'll give us. Okay. So what do we got here? Oh, get off the screen. All right. Screen Hub Screen Hub, you're in trouble. You just gave it a splat. Oh, you just came in. May have to lower it a little bit. We've got another splat. How about that? Is this updating on time? I don't know. If we go down, it says Nolan's lush tactile film makes for a thoughtful, bracing conversation with Homer's epic. Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey may be based on one of the great classics of Western literature, but he has molded it to be a modern parable about our times. Oh, I can't wait to see that. Oh, please let me see a modern parable about our times. Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey stands mightily as the definitive movie version of Homer's classic literature. By the way, I'm seeing some splats in here, and they're recent. I wonder if that's not updating the score, because I don't think it would have the score it has with these kind of splats. Anyway, we'll see. We got top critics, of course, and they're all very excited. Let's see. Here's Rolling Stone. Rolling Stone, which if you all know, Rolling Stone has never said a truthful thing in the entire history of its publication. What you tend to walk away with after bearing witness to The Odyssey, arguably Christopher Nolan's best work after 2017's Dunkirk, is an overall sensation of awe. It is one of the most dynamic movies in recent memory. Now, folks, why am I skeptical? Why am I siding with Film Threat despite the fact that I've not yet seen the film? And I will go in with an open mind, and I will eat crow if I come out of there and say, you know what, it's a good movie. And I will if it's a good movie. Here's why. Rotten Tomatoes. One battle after another. A disgusting film, which was designed from beginning to end in order to live out a fantasy on screen of causing harm and pain to your political opponents, to conservatives. It is Hollywood's dream of hunting down conservatives. 94% Rotten Tomatoes score. That's why I am skeptical, and that's why when our friends at Film Threat say that this thing is, it's not a disaster, but it's not great either, that's why I say, what's going on here, okay? All right, Ron, what do you think about this idea? They're calling it the Odyssey for modern times. It's a parable of today, which, by the way, I think means they don't know what parable means. But anyway, go ahead, Ron. What are your thoughts on the modern messaging of the Odyssey?
That's just stupid. I'm sorry, but it's just stupid. It's the Odyssey. It's classic Greek literature. Why would you even want to try to compare it to modern times? It doesn't make any sense. That means you have to twist and turn and spin the story so that it has a very particular narrative that you want for the audience that you're going for. But again, that's not the general audience. And to be honest with you, like, I just haven't had any interest in this film from the beginning, mostly because even in whatever it was, the Brad Pitt movie, these type of movies based on history and those, they don't really appeal to me. If they're more mythological like the Greek gods, then they absolutely do. I don't think there's that much of that in the Odyssey, but I don't know if you played this or not, but I had watched that earlier with Alan. One of the things I also said about this, and you're to the point about making it modern, is apparently the accents of the characters as they speak is like a more modern accent.
Modern Midwestern American, and instead of saying to the gods, you go, or to Hades, they say things like blank off, that kind of stuff.
That's stupid.
By the way, this is breaking during the show. This is breaking right now, so we're going to go to it because this is literally happening as we speak. Remember what I told you we would not put on the screen because I thought they would come after us? They're going after people. They're going after people on X. Stephanie at My Nerdy Home says, when the memes become real, what she had posted here is the recording, I believe. Now, I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty darn sure. This was going around everywhere on X, and it's the scene of the artist formerly known as Paige running around as a soldier, as a Greek soldier, and it's just unbelievably silly. Well, now it says this media has been disabled in response to a report by the copyright owner. So we've got this being taken down now. But I want to show you what's happening. Scribelight, when this was posted, said, the breadsticks have returned to Olive Garden.
Yes.
Ready Rocksteady says they are striking down the footage. You can see here, watching Ellen Page run, it's taking me out. So it turns out she did replace Achilles. What's going on? Media disabled. Loki says looks like crap, but also notice the horses are making that clopping sound while on sand.
You mean the coconut shells from Monty Python?
Yeah, exactly. People are posting, I have no words. If you saw it before it was taken down off X, it's just ridiculous. It's just absolutely as silly as you would imagine it would be. I mean, it doesn't work, right? We posted this the other day. Imagine if there was a Wilt Chamberlain film starring Peter Dinklage. Like it doesn't work.
Well, the other thing, I haven't seen the film, obviously, but I did read the rather extensive review in Variety. And their claim on why it's brilliant is that it's a parable showing the futility of all wars. Well, gosh, I guess that means what? We shouldn't have done anything in Europe in those two big things called wars? Because
shouldn't have stopped those Yahtzees. Just let them be.
Futile, exactly.
Yeah.
And if that isn't contemporary politics coming through, I don't know what is. Now, I don't know that was Nolan's intent, but that's what they say.
I mean, that is absolutely, totally, insanely illogical. The idea that every war is futile because sometimes you're forced into. I mean, that's like saying every fight because a war is just a fight at scale. Every fight is futile. It's like no, if someone's going to harm your child, I guarantee you, if you have any morality in your bones whatsoever, you're going to do whatever it takes to stop that from happening, including fighting if you need to.
But look at that and think about what's going on in the UK right now, where people who fight back against being attacked are being told they're the aggressors.
Yep.
So if we're raising a society to say never fight back, what we're doing is surrendering.
So they're trying. People. They're doing everything they can right now to stop this. Flash post this. This was the same thing. This was the scene I was talking about. Her being half his size rips the immersion away instantly. Scribelight says, "Good golly, Damon's delivery is flatter than." Oh boy, Scribelight, don't say that. Oh my gosh, you leave Brie alone. She's on a comeback tour, I tell you.
Oh.
But what Flash is talking about, is the idea that Elliot Page is going to fight Matt Damon and win is it's ludicrous. It's like watching Muggsy Bogues try to beat Shaquille O'Neal. It doesn't work.
Must say that every review I've read from people who loved it or hated it have complimented Matt Damon, saying it's one of his best performances ever. But what was that one that you read that said this is Nolan's best since Dunkirk? So we're leaving Oppenheimer out of that equation, are we? I see.
That's a good, interesting, isn't it, considering where it's coming from? Absolutely. Lauren, so they are rapidly trying to scrub these leaks that will damage the film. If, in fact, Elliot Page is playing the character analogous to Achilles and is beating up all the other soldiers, that's just going to be silly. Your thoughts, Lauren, on the scrub attempt happening right before our eyes? Lauren, you're muted, but the symbol doesn't show you're muted. Oh, no. We've lost Lauren.
Oh.
What
now
will
it
happen?
shows muted.
How's
Now
that?
it does.
Hey,
yeah,
tell
there
us your
you
thoughts,
go.
Lauren.
Okay. So I want to be as fair to this as I can because, as people have said, haven't seen the movie. What we've been reacting to so far is what we've seen of the marketing campaign and how we think that Nolan is adapting this thing. So the character that Ellen is playing is Sinon, who is not in the Odyssey or the Iliad, but is from the Aeneid, which is a Roman retelling of those two stories that is sort of a placeholder from Achilles. And for what I've seen in the chat, it sounds like that's the role that she is filling there. So it is sort of an Achilles replacement. That again goes to the faithfulness of the adaptation, though. And what I don't have experience with is, I think her name is Emily Wilson, her adaptation of the Odyssey. Did she then pull from the Aeneid, or is this a novel invention that is being pulled in from Nolan for some reason? Mostly what we have been arguing against is the authenticity of the vision here. This is not an adaptation. This is an interpretation of some kind. My question is, whose interpretation is it? Is it Emily Wilson's, or is it Christopher Nolan's? And either way, I think that should be disclosed in the title. Now, what I've heard from the reviews of this thing so far seems to indicate that it has excellent cinematography and is pretty much boring. I'm hearing it's not the worst thing ever, but that's damning with faint praise, you know, and we're seeing from the critics that you would expect, they're all praising it because they have an agenda to push let's say a heavy hitter in Hollywood to protect. And if this goes against Nolan, I think it's going to be his first real big black eye. So they have a vested interest in making sure that the Odyssey succeeds in one manner or another. Now, if it turns out that we watch this movie and we enjoy it, I'll be the first to say, you know what, I liked that. But everything so far that I have seen has told me that, no, you're being pretty hackish about this. You're trying to claim that this is an interpretation for the modern age, but that shows contempt for your audience. And I think that's the main thing that we have been complaining about, is that you're claiming we wouldn't understand the high elevated speech, that we wouldn't understand the classical references, and somehow trying to pour a message into it that appeals to the modern day. That's not what somebody goes to the Odyssey for. We're not there to read a message for the modern day. We're there to see an epic that is a historical myth. If you're not adapting that, you may as well make it a satire.
Well, let me show you one example of a review that I just find fascinating and who's going to enjoy this. Hannah Strong, who I've never heard of before, but probably a great person, writes for a website called Little White Lies. See if this fits for the Odyssey. A Greek foundational story that is one of the building blocks for the hero's journey and storytelling for thousands of years. The richness of the Odyssey is found in its metatextuality, both as a translation of Homer's text and as a translation from word to image. Increasingly, the value of words is decimated. A film like this seems to emphasize their importance more than ever. 5 out of 5. I don't even know. Those are all English words, but here's the actual review, okay? A magnificent feat of storytelling. I want to scroll down to how she starts this off, because a lot of this is just blah, 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 okay? Nolan begins his story with rapper Harmony Korine Muse Travis Scott, who wrote and performed the theme song for Tenet with Ludwig Göransson. It's the sort of flourish that smacks of hip English teacher. Hey kids, what if I told you Shakespeare was the original Eminem? But if it gets the kids interested in ancient Greek oral tradition, maybe that's okay. And thus we go.
Wait. You get the kids interested in ancient Greek oral tradition by totally ignoring ancient Greek oral tradition and making it contemporary. That's how it works. I see.
Get rid of the Greeks. Make sure they don't have a chance to speak in the film.
He would never say this, but if his excuse when it's all said and done is, I don't know, it's all Greek to me, we will at least understand.
That's right. It's yet again, it smacks of the Hollywood problem we've talked about in the past. Snow White, they had to be inclusive, and inclusive meant for Snow White, that came out last year. Inclusive meant no dwarfs allowed, right? So exclude the dwarfs. We don't, people make fun of dwarfs with people with dwarfism. Don't let dwarfs on the screen. and therefore will exclude every single dwarf actor who would get their big chance.
You would
And
think
this is the
they would
same
exclude
thing.
the gods in this case because they don't believe in that either.
Well, they'd love to play all those though. They do every day. So the idea here is don't let a Greek person in. Don't it's not about Greek or Western culture. Let's start this thing off with a wrap. That's what we need to do, folks. That's a wrap for right now until we get the review out. It's going to be out the day of opening, Thursday, 10 p.m. or 9 p.m. I'll let you know. Depends on timing, but we'll get the review out for the Odyssey. Is it an oddity? Is it one battle after another 2.0? And will we go as low as Film Threat? We'll let you know, folks. But honesty, that's what we're about right here. Well, it's been a good time. It's been a great time, folks. It's been a groovy time, even. Keeping the Holly Weirds in line. We know them better than they know themselves. As we say goodbye, folks, please consider clicking that like button, drop a comment down below, and join the community dialogue today. And until the next time, we say it every time. Keep learning. Keep growing. And as always, keep having fun.